Hey, everybody. Ed and I want to welcome you to Three Realtors Meet in a Bar agent interview series. This is what we're doing, guys. You got some incredible content. Got anything to add, Mr. Billings?
Always. I think we're really going to enjoy this series. We dig into the human side, the lessons learned, and as well as the systems of what make some of these amazing agents great. And we think you're going to get a lot out of it. And you might even tear up occasionally. There's some great stories. Hey, everybody. We are really excited to present a new series that we're starting here, and it's agent interviews. And agent stories is probably a better way. And I think the working title we've been going with is, Three Realtors Meet in a Bar. So it's just that kind of feel. What we found when we go to these conferences is we really enjoy, after the conference, having a drink and hearing somebody's story about what makes them successful in their real estate journey. And our first guest today is Luz Daniels from Denver, Colorado. So Luz, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me. I'm so excited to be here with you.
And we're excited to have you, Liz.
We are really excited to have you. So Luz is a Keller Williams agent. She's in Denver, Colorado, and she got into the business in 2001. And Jeffy and I started in 2002. So we're kind of right around that same time period.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you've had an opportunity to see a lot. But what we kind of like to do is, take us back to the beginning, back in 2001. What was going on in your life that led you to become a realtor?
Well, I was in my first marriage and had two youngsters, two little kids. And, my husband and I were having a little bit of financial trouble. I had 8 to 5 job. I actually was working with the Colorado Supreme Court back then. And he was asking me to supplement my income. So back then we used the classified paper. And so I was looking by the letter P for part-time, and it ended. I couldn't find anything. And then it moved to R, and it said real estate. You've been thinking about doing it for so long. Why not start now?
I love that.
And I was
You're
like, well,
kidding.
I guess I'll go and listen to the spiel and see what that's all about. I've been curious about it, and here I am.
I love this.
Oh my gosh. So 2001, if I hear you right, so there was kind of some financial pressure, it sounds like, in the household. And that was a tough time. Was it after 9/11 or before? Where was it?
It was right before 9/11. I started school in 2000. 9/11 was September, September 11, 2001.
Right.
So I was really trying to prove my husband that I could, bring more money to the household and help everybody. And I was so excited about becoming a realtor. Ended up getting my license in May of 2001. And I was hoping that, this extra income that in my mind was going to come right away was going to save my marriage, We ended up not being able to stay together. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough. We couldn't work together. But you know what? 2 beautiful children were left from that marriage, and lots of learning. And fortunately, I was able to start my career. I became a single mom soon after I started my real estate career. And I said, well, I guess I had to make it happen. It's just me now.
Yeah. There you go.
It's just me now.
It's just me now. I found my career in the classified ads, and here I am.
Here I am.
How did you keep your job at the court as well as the job in real estate to start?
I did in the very beginning, and did it for maybe, I'll say, 4 or 5 months. And finally, my broker Susan Jocelyn said, you know, Luz, at some point you need to dive in. So right
Yeah.
Mm.
now you are just putting your toe inside the water. You need to dive in to make this real estate
Yeah.
career happen. And I said,
Yeah.
well, I guess I'm gonna say goodbye to my part-time job with the court, which I had changed to a part-time job. And I finally left. I finally said, I think I can do this. I think I can do this. And I went, worked open houses left and right. 2 days, 4 open houses every weekend, all that good stuff.
Wow.
Wow.
And
So I've got to ask,
Motivated.
I've got to ask you. So you're kind of doing both part time, and as we know now, as you know, successful full time agents, you can't do it part time. You're either all in or you're not. But at that point, that's scary. Can you tell us a little bit about that moment and how you dealt with that?
oh my goodness. I mean, it definitely has to come from inside of you and say, you know what? You can do it. It's gonna be hard. You need to watch your expenses and all this. They always suggest for you to have 3 to 6 months in reserves before you go
Mm-hmm.
solo, and I didn't have them. But I said, you know what?
Yeah.
I had to make it happen. Then
Yep.
I knock at doors. I was the door knocking leader in my office, and I will take new agents out to show them how to do it. And then I realized it was just a numbers game. You just have to knock a certain number of doors and talk to a certain number of people, and something will happen. And it started happening, and I became, rookie of the year that year.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Wow.
and I don't think nothing earth shattering, but I did a great job, and I was able to finally start seeing production coming my way.
That's just
Okay.
incredible.
Yeah, that's really something. So, you got in and you kind of sounds like you really focused inside internally and said, I'm just going to do it. I'm going in full time. Did you meet any other resistance, or what did other people say about this as you were diving in?
Absolutely. I mean, I had this a toddler. I had a toddler and a 5 year old, 6 year old, and it was hard. I cannot lie to you. I am not gonna lie to you. I had back then, you have to sign 3 copies of your contract, and
Yes.
bring the earnest money to the office to
Mm-hmm.
present your
Yeah.
offers. I worked with a lot of buyers in the beginning, and my children, I had to wake them up and say, "We need to go to Kinko's, and we need to make some copies, and I need to fax this contract right now. I don't have a fax machine at home. It's 11 p.m. And the kids will just have
Wow.
to get in the car with me, and it was a lot. So their grandma, their dad, everybody's like, you're putting a lot of pressure on these children, and wouldn't you be better going back to getting a job and that kind of stuff? So
Mm,
there was a lot of resistance. I said, I cannot go back. I'm not going back. I know what it is having a nine
Yeah.
to five job. I know what it is being in a place where, you're done by 3 p.m. and you have to sit there until 5 p.m. no matter what. So I said, no, I'm going to put as much effort into my business and hopefully see the results from it. And I did.
wow.
I love this because I feel like you saw no obstacles. You knew you had to do something and you just said, I'm doing it. I've got the carbon copies. I'm going down to Kinko's. I'm faxing this in. Like you didn't let anything stop you, which is just amazing. Because a lot of people, like Ed and I did a podcast and we talked about these 2 cyclists, and one looks at the other and says, I love that it's pouring with rain because half the people here quit before they even start.
Oh, wow.
And you did not quit, which is
Yeah,
beautiful.
you had no quit in you, and
No,
and I
no.
remember those days. It's like having to be in people's homes at 10, 11 o'clock at night, and you've got children, single parent, you've got to manage all that. That's really, really hard.
It's
But
huge.
you didn't have that quit. Before we kind of transition into that first year and getting started and wins and losses, that drive, did that come from a particular place, or where do you think that's coming from?
I think it comes from my mom. I come from a single mother household. I grew up in Colombia. We grew up with a lot of you know monetary limitations. And my mom was a very hard worker. She worked for a liquor factory in my city, Cali.
Mm.
And I will see my mom. They had a bus, and the factory bus will drop her off, let's say at around 2 a.m. after working the first shift, and she will come home, take a shower, prepare the lunch for us, breakfast, leave it all ready, maybe sleep for an hour if able to, and then change into a new uniform and wait, and then the bus will stop again at 5 a.m. for the new shift.
Oh,
Oh my
So
goodness.
my mom worked so hard, and I watched her do it, and it was hard on us, but she taught me the importance of not giving up. She in Colombia put through private school in Colombia 4 kids. Uh,
Oh wow.
wow.
3 children. Then she adopted a one of my cousins, my first cousins. She got so now there were 4 of us, and she made it happen. And that's what taught me that you can do it. It's hard, but you can do it.
Wow. That is so inspirational.
It really is.
It is for me.
It really is.
So, yep. So, you've made the decision, you've had the crisis come, you've made the decision, you're starting, you've gotten some negative feedback. Now you're in it. And I think we've got a sense of some of the frustration or the challenges you're facing. And you're going out and you're door knocking and you're doing the hard things. Tell us about some of the wins you had in that first year.
Well, I recognize that being bilingual will help me a lot. And also recognize that you don't necessarily need a second language. You just have to be a hard worker. And there were plenty of agents who didn't have a second language and did much better than I did. So I said, you know what? I can do what they did. So I dived into my language, that helped a lot. And then I started gaining some respect and recognition. And then I was feeling more comfortable with everybody. I started working with families from, this is a nation that has immigrants from all over the world. And I was able to start working with people from Bosnia, people from Ethiopia. I just felt like, oh, they have their group, they have their area, and they don't want to talk to me. Well, they were open because they saw the determination that I had to help them.
Ooh, I just got shivers.
I know.
As long as I could show them that my best interest was their best interest, they just started saying to their brothers, their kids, anybody, just go with Luz. She'll help you. And that's that's my statement. I say, call Luz and call it done. And I keep working until we get it done. And that is that's my slogan.
Call Luz and get it done. So this became, it sounds like, because you had this immigrant background, and you had the second language, that you were able to kind of lean into this experience and develop this line of business. Is that a correct statement?
Yes, absolutely. Being bilingual helped a lot. I noticed the lack of help, how much help the Hispanic market needed here in Denver. Back then, I don't know if you remember, you could be a mortgage broker and not have a license. So they were taken advantage by a lot of people because they didn't speak the language. They didn't speak English. So they knew that when they were working with me, I would make sure that whomever lenders I referred to them were people who were not going to try to take advantage of them. So that
That's
was one part
great.
of it. And Spanish speakers or English speakers, doesn't matter. If you know that you have a person backing you that is going to refer you to others that are not going to try to abuse you, absolutely. That's how they kept coming. And I don't know if you remember, the market crashed, and we have
Yep.
those.
Oh yeah.
We have those.
We lived through that, Luz.
We had the situation, when they were offering, some lenders were offering, buy two houses for the payment of one house, but they were not telling people that those two payments were going to balloon after 6 months. I knew that that was not a good deal for my client. And in some aspects, some in some situations, sometimes I just said, look, I cannot help you. You do want to do a
Yeah.
loan like that, but I just don't. I know that's not in your best of interest. I know how much money you make, and I want to sleep well at night. I want to sleep well at night, so I'm just not going to touch it. And they went with someone else sometimes, and then they came back to me and said, well, we were taken advantage of. I'm like, well, I told you.
Yeah.
This is a great reminder that Luz is definitely about the human and not about the deal. And that's one thing that Ed and I talk about a lot. There's a lot of agents out there that don't have the client's best interest at heart. And it's just so beautiful to talk to somebody who does. And it's lovely.
It really
Anyway.
is. So I think we're getting a sense of how you were getting started. Now, you mentioned your broker, Susan. Was she a bit of a mentor for you, or did you have anybody that was kind of showing you the ropes?
Yes. Susan Jocelyn, Carla Jocelyn, her husband, they were great mentors to me. It was a wonderful office. One of those, even though Century 21 sounds like a huge company, each office is independently owned. Steve Arndt, who just passed recently, he was amazing. And they were always teaching me, you know what, Luz, is about giving good service. And one thing I never forget about Susan, though, was you need to work. When your phone is not ringing, that means the clients are not coming. So that's a big reminder. Even now, when I don't hear the phone ring, I'm like, I need to get back on connecting with my people. And it's funny because, at first I was door knocking and kind of meeting new people. Then it became like, I want to make sure that everyone I work with has been referred to me. And today is my bread and butter. I get phone calls from tons of offers, and they'll sell you leads, and I will give you a lead and we won't charge you or whatever. I said, you know what? I only work by referral.
Yep.
I love it.
And my business just flourished from that.
Yeah. It's those personal referrals. So I think that's kind of a nice transition point, because you've gotten started, you're getting mentored, and now you're starting to hit your stride, it sounds like. Was there a point where that all came together for you?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's funny because then 9/11 happened and the market kind of crashed. And my office kept pushing and reminding us there is a buyer and a seller for every market. And that realization, it doesn't matter that it's an up market, a down market, as long as you stay in touch with your clientele, as long as you're there showing them that you are there to help, they'll love to hear from you. And there is going to be a buyer and a seller in any market. Families keep growing and families keep getting smaller and people need to move. And that's why we're here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Now
So
that's really, really good.
2004, by 2002 and 3, I was doing very well. Then the market crashed. Oh my goodness, 2008 was very hard. My husband was able to support me I gotta say, when the banks began to close doors, you would come
Mm-hmm.
to the closing table, and they said, "We
Mm-hmm.
don't have a closing." I say, "What do you mean we don't have a closing? Here's the buyer, here's the seller." And they're like, "The bank closed their doors. The bank closed their
Yeah.
doors, so we
Oh,
don't have a closing." And my goodness, so at that point, my husband did have to carry me for a little bit, and that was a blessing. Was still,
Yes.
even though I was making a lot of money, I was a disorganized agent. I didn't have my
hmm,
finances in order, and that's what did
Mm.
it. And then I said to myself, this will never happen to me again.
I
hmm.
love that.
Yeah.
The learning, the lesson. Wow,
Yeah,
Luz, you and I have a lot in common.
Yes. Oh yeah,
you do.
absolutely, absolutely. I gotta
Yeah.
thank my coach. She
Yep.
mentioned Dave Ramsey, so I
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
got myself into the Dave Ramsey wagon, on the Dave
Yep.
Hmm.
Ramsey wagon, and I was able
Yep.
to get out of debt, not use credit any longer. And now I am one of those agents that if I don't have the money, I will not buy it.
Right.
And
Yes.
I credit cards are not needed, and I am successful no matter what. I don't need credit cards to become a millionaire, you know,
Yeah.
and it's just it has been a lifesaver.
So what I'm hearing here is this was a bit of a crisis that happened in around this period where you were maybe a little overextended,
I
and then
was.
it dropped out. So you really learned from this. It sounds like, and applied that into the future.
I sure did. And one of the smartest decisions I made back then was I was being offered, because I was a realtor, a very high mortgage
Mm.
option. You don't have to bring the down payment. You're a real estate agent. Oh yeah, you can qualify for 1.5 million or whatever. And I thought to myself, okay, yeah, sure, you can qualify me, but do I want to get myself into that kind of a mortgage? And thank God I didn't, because when the market fully tanked, I was able to handle my mortgage. And, even though there were hard times, I'm not going to lie, I was able to survive
Right.
with
That's
my
fantastic.
new husband and
I have a
our
I
family.
have a quick question. How long have you been in coaching?
This is going to be my 17th year, 18th year in
I love
coaching.
that.
Wow.
That's great.
18
That's
years
great.
in coaching. I I
Yeah.
started I started working I started working in with by myself. I was doing my own
Mm-hmm.
printing. I was doing my own mailers. I wanted to stay in touch with my clientele. I knew I wanted to stay in touch with the people I have worked with. And then I met
Mm-hmm.
Brian Buffini, and someone told me, you know what, whatever they're selling, don't buy it. And I waited another 5 years. And then finally I went to another Brian Buffini event, and I said, I'm doing this now. So and then I told myself, I wish I had done it from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Um,
I know.
but you know what? I did it right after, and my career has been even fantastic once I got my coach, and once I started listening to my coach, because at
Yeah.
first I was paying for coaching, but I was doing whatever the heck I wanted. So, you know,
Yeah, we
I
all
was
go
Love
not
through that.
that.
coachable. I was not coachable in the beginning. Now, whatever my coach says, as much as possible, I listen, and now I'm in team coaching, and my career is keeps growing thanks to her.
That's great.
Great. We're gonna in a minute chat a little bit about where you are today, but I'd like to dive in about work-life balance because you're very successful. You've got a great business. How do you balance things out?
It's hard, not gonna lie. Um, my coach taught me to change my recording and take at least one day that was important to me.
Mm-hmm.
For me, Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Take that day off and don't answer the phone, even if it kills you. I do every now and then, but for the most part, Sundays are my days with my family. And my recording also says that I'll be unavailable after 6 p.m. So I try to, as much as possible, to spend some time with the family in the evenings and for the weekend on Sunday for sure. Sometimes you have to accommodate, of course. I mean, this is a business
Right.
where there things happen, right? But
Right.
90% of the time, I am true to my schedule. One of the things I do is make sure that 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, at a minimum, you're working very hard, working,
Yes.
not playing, not
hmm
shopping, not, so that
Running errands.
it's like
Yeah.
running errands, so that after 6, I can be focused with my family. And there are clients who can meet you after 6. So you kind of move your schedule. The first thing I do in the mornings is not look at my email, is look at my calendar. So I know
hmm
what's going on that day, who I'm seeing that day, and how I can kind of, if I am having an evening at a client's house, maybe I can go have lunch with my husband, so
Ah,
that
it's good.
it feels like that I'm not putting him on the side and just do work, 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 because you can work 7 days a week, 24 hours, right? If you want to, you could.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
This
at some
business
Yes.
will
point,
chew you up if you let it.
absolutely.
Um,
So
Yeah.
at some point, you just have to remember that the family is there, that they need you, and sometimes they just want to watch some show, and I'm like, I don't want to watch that TV show. But you just sit there and be with them because that's what they want to do.
right.
Um,
Luz,
mhm.
do you have a favorite system that you use in your business? Something that's giving you, I mean, I know you mentioned the calendar and looking at the calendar, but is there a system that you use that really keeps everything tight and clean for you?
I use the Brand Buffini Referral Maker a lot.
Okay.
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 And I also
hmm
use a Google Sheets
hmm
to kind of keep in mind the clients that are ready to move or have been thinking
hmm
about moving. And what I
hmm
do is I organize them by price. And then
Got you.
next to it, I organize them by area that they're looking for.
hmm
And sometimes it just happens that, oh my gosh, this client said they were thinking about selling, and look at this new
hmm
buyer thinking about buying in the same area,
Yeah.
similar price range.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put them together.
Yep.
Yep.
I
I
think
love that.
the CRM has that same capability. I haven't dived into that part. It's easier for me,
Yep.
more visible the way I do it with my
hmm
Google Sheets. But when it comes to communicating with my clientele, my referral maker is my daily go-to.
That's great.
So you've got your business now, it's up and running. Can you tell a little bit about the listeners a little bit about that structure, how you're set up now?
Yes, so I am the licensed agent. Are you asking who are my team
Yeah, on your
members?
yes, exactly.
Okay, yeah. So I have a transaction coordinator. I have 3 assistants, and I am the
Mm,
licensed agent. So I have an assistant that works with my personal and business kind of errands. And then I
Mhm.
have tech assistant who prepares all the marketing materials, orders, any mailers that I'm gonna send. And then I have my other assistant who kind of keeps me up to date of what's going on with each client. Um, we separate our clients from A plus, A, B, and C's. That
yep.
assistant mostly stays in touch with the C's, who have been
Okay.
thinking about doing something, but they're not quite ready. Maybe they're working with their lender, maybe they're cleaning their credit, maybe they are fixing their house, whatever. So she stays in touch with them.
Nice.
I love that.
That's great. And that's, I assume, primarily by phone and text. Is that on
Primarily
the
by
C's?
phone
It's
and
kind
text, yes. And it's funny
yeah.
because a lot of them know me And she mentions always my name. She says, I'm working with Luz Daniels, and we're following up, and she's building that relationship with them. But at the end of the day, they know, they tell her, when we're ready, we'll call Luz. So,
Yeah.
but it's good
Good.
that they know that someone is staying in touch and reminding them that we're here, and she's part of our team.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
I'm going to ask you, Luz, so you've come a long way in this, and you've built a fantastic business. If you could go back to the very beginning of your career and you could tell yourself one thing, what would it be?
Don't try to reinvent the wheel. There were
Ooh,
so
that's a good
many.
one.
There were so many
Yeah.
systems given to me, Buffini or not. That other agents have put in front of me, and I said, "Let me try it this other way." And
Yeah.
it's like, okay. And of course, obviously today, with tech and the internet, there is so much nuances that I cannot tell you I know about. But at the end of the day, guys, you end up comparing yourself to other agents, and your only competitor is yourself. How can you improve yourself this year?
Right.
Everything else
I love
doesn't
it.
matter. You are you.
Yeah, and we can get on that hamster wheel of comparison if we're not careful, and that can be really, really dangerous.
Destructive.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just did it. If I may add, I just was looking at. I was driving around a few clients for a couple of weeks, and I happened to see the sign of this agent maybe 2, 3 times, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this person is like killing it. Let's. So I started my first thought was, let's find out what they're doing, what kind of, let's go into their website, and they have a great Facebook, positioning, and wow.
Yeah.
And then I went to MLS, and I look at their sales, and I go, oh, okay. They sold about a tenth of what I sold last year. And here I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I need to try what they're doing. The grass is greener on the other. So it's like, no, no,
Yeah.
Luz, pick up that phone and get back to the basics.
The
Contact your
basics,
I
clients.
the
Contact your
I love
clients.
that.
fundamentals,
That's
the fundamentals.
Love that.
We're going to
That's
ask you.
great.
We're going to ask you one more question, and then I know Jeffy's going to give a little endorsement after that too, on a great experience her clients had. But we'd be interested to know if there's one client that really impacted your life and they don't know it. This would be a great chance for you to tell them about it.
quite a few. Um, I am very thankful with two of them. Um, One is mm, Mayra Jaques. She was very young. Um, Veronica Flores. They were very young. They were investors. They just wanted to invest, and they put all their trust in me, and I have helped them buy and sell many times. Margarita Vega. She refers me to her entire family, her friends, and I am very, very, very grateful for her friendship and also for her trust. Actually, I watched her start from the very bottom, and then she became a fix and flipper, and then from that they just built their first over $1 million home, $1.5 million home. I just sold it for them. So I am very thankful. I'm very grateful with those clients who, no matter what, because everybody knows somebody. Everybody knows 5 or 10 agents. They keep coming back to me. So I'm very
Yeah.
appreciative of them.
That's
That's
wonderful.
yeah, that is beautiful. And I wanted to say that I have a very, very, very close friends, in Denver, and Ed had met Luz at Peak,
Yep.
Buffini's Peak, and he said, Jeffy, you have to call Luz, because when you have this relationship, and I'm in real estate, so I'm always like, I love working by referral, but when you're taking these humans that you love so much and then you're passing them off to somebody, and Luz took such good care of them. They would email me and text me, oh my gosh, this is a great experience. Their parents were texting me, this is an amazing experience. So I can 100% say I can put my name to Luz, and if you need somebody in Denver, she's your girl.
Thank you. Thank you
There
so
you
much.
go.
They were, amazing to work with. Good students.
Yes.
They did their homework, and I love the fact that they trusted me, and I appreciate Jeffy, you sending them my way.
Nice.
I love that couple. They were amazing, and they found the
Good.
best home. I was as patient as possible, and they just loved it. They were very good. They were very good clients. And
Well, they loved you. So
I am so thankful also to be able to meet them. Good quality clients who just love their new home, and they're very grateful for the work I did for them, and I am grateful to know them.
yes. That's great.
Fantastic.
That's great.
Well, Luz, we can't thank you enough for sharing your story. And I got to say, you are aptly named. You are a shining light. So,
yes.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
We have enjoyed this so much. So everybody, we hope you enjoyed it as well. And we'll be bringing you more in this series. That was a great story with Luz Daniels. Wouldn't you say, Jeffy?
I would say absolutely. And I wish that we would have interviewed her for an hour. She just had, I kept taking notes. Like, she's from Colombia, right?
Yeah.
And she found her niche market in groups of people who weren't represented.
She gave them a voice.
Yeah. She gave them a voice. And I don't even think, I just got chills again. I got chills in the interview, and now I just got chills again. So that really struck with me. But I loved the fact that Luz's primary objective is to make sure that her clients have a voice and that they're taken care of. And she even talked about the fact that she let people go that she felt she couldn't sleep at night if they made the decision that they wanted to make. So she would give them the advice that they needed during a time where loans were just, not regulated and out of control. And this whole community of people, non-first English speakers, were being taken advantage of massively. She tried to explain, and she would let these people go because she knew she couldn't live with herself if she sold them something they shouldn't have.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
And her backstory, of having to really dig in when so many of your people were saying, no, why are you doing this? And where that came from her mother in Colombia, right? That was just a beautiful part of her story.
Yeah, she said her mom got up at 3 or 4 to get the bus at 5 that would go to the plant, and then she wouldn't get home until 3 p.m.
I know.
And she just saw this insane work ethic. And I think that if we could interview Luz again, I would say, what did you take from that as a child? And can you learn from as an adult in your work ethic? Obviously, she has a massive work ethic, but where do the boundaries come in? Where do you draw the line? And she talked a little bit about that too, which is really beautiful. But wow.
Yeah. Really a lot of great lessons there. Any other quick takeaways before we have to zip?
Yeah, I liked the fact that she has 3 assistants, because there's a lot of structure around that, that agents don't necessarily need big teams. They need big support. And she talked about her 3 assistants, one that did personal and business errands, one that did team marketing, and one that handled like client relations.
Right.
I would really like to dig in and explore that.
That's a whole episode right there on how to leverage assistants. how to build the right assistant team to make sure people are leveraging their expertise. So really, really good. Great interview. Love her.